Hi, my name's Cheyenne Little and I'm 14. I recently started an online petition against the reopening of equine slaughterhouses in the USA. Already it's gone global and I've reached places like Romania, Italy, Germany, France, Spain, Mexico, Canada, really all over the world, even China and Japan. And speaking of China, she's my horse. My horse's name is China. And she's the reason I started this entire petition. She's just inspired everything. I've made so many huge decisions in my life based off of just what this horse has taught me. She's taught me life lessons. She's not just a horse. She's my best friend. She's a fighter. She fought for her life, and she's really inspired me. And I hope she can inspire a lot of other people. So she actually was a national champion Arabian halter mare before I got her. And I think it's kind of fate. We had a over-talkative PG&E man came to my house one day. He was just reading the meter on the water, and he told us about a farm that lives just around the road from us, and that they had a couple of really nice horses, Arabian horses, that they were just giving away. Well, we didn't really know these people, so we went, and there was two incredible horses standing out there in the pasture. One was a 2-year-old filly, and then the other one was China, who was at least 10 at the time. And China she wasn't very pretty at the time. She was very overweight, covered in hides, just not looking too good. So I didn't really buy. They gave China to me, and I bought the filly for $500. These were the cheapest horses at the farm. I mean, some of them are over $500,000. It's really incredible. Now I get to work there and I exercise and train horses, so I'm living my dream. I'm 14, so I'm really excited. But anyways, China was at nationals and she kicked another horse. And she had an injury that would kill most horses. And she broke her left hind ankle off bone, and the farm decided to spend a ton of money and take her down to UC Davis and save her. And they did, and she came back and was bred and just put out to pasture as a broodmare. They thought her halter career was over. Well, she was pregnant, and she started to develop hives all over her body, and she got these crusty things around her eyes and her nose, and they did not know what was wrong with her. She was completely swollen and just her eyes were watering. She was miserable. And so they tried all these different vets to figure out what was wrong with her. And eventually they took her down to UC Davis with the intentions of putting her down. She had just foaled, and they were just going to have a bottle pull, I guess. And a vet came in with a bunch of students and said, "Wait, we know what this is." So they went and they saved her. And what it is it's called pemphigus, and it's an autoimmune disease. So she basically just gets hives all around, mostly on her head, her face, and around her eyes. But now, she's been with me, and she's lost a lot of weight. She was very overweight when I got her. She's back down to a healthy weight, and she's completely sound with that back leg. She can be ridden, she just can't be jumped. And she actually is doing really well with her autoimmune disease. She's able to come off her medicine for almost 3 months now, so that's the longest she's gone before. And so I'm hoping maybe someday we'll be able to do an embryo transfer on her and breed her just so I can have my one little baby from this mare and keep her. I plan on keeping her her whole life. She's going to be 13 January 27th now. She's getting older, but I still love her. I would love her even if she turned ugly. But anyway, so when we brought these horses home, I had my filly, who I started to work with instantly, and I was training her to be a jumper. And she jumped a 6-foot paddock fence one day and caught her back leg and did a complete backflip out of her stall. I had witnessed this. I was bringing a gate down the road, and it turned out that she had broken her femur, completely shattered her leg, probably had back injuries, probably had neck injuries, was already really bloating by the time we got her at So we just decided to go ahead and do what was right and just put her down for her own, just for what was best for her. And, that was really hard. She was 2 years old, but we called the farm and we talked to them and we kind of went out and we looked at getting another horse. It wasn't going to replace Tina, my filly, but we went and looked. And I came across China's filly. Her name is Misty, and they tried to sell her to me for $8,500, and she was in foal. And now I get to work with that foal, and I go over there all the time. And I'm working on training him now. Hopefully, he's going to be going to the Scottsdale show this year, and I'm going to NorCal Futurity with him also. But anyway, so we went and we looked at these horses, but we didn't bring anything home. China had been nasty. She was the meanest horse I'd ever seen before. I hated her. She was just so mean. She would kick me and bite me and burst right out of her stall. She was really unmanageable. But I didn't realize at the time she was a show horse. They trained them to be hot like that. She was a halter horse. And the hotter they are and the wilder they are, the better they are for the show ring. So that is what they want. Well, I started working with her and lunging her every day and getting her going real good. And eventually I started to become a friend. And now I could not imagine living without this horse. I finally started to ride her, and she's incredible to ride. We're going to start doing some A-rated dressage and flat hunter shows coming up here in April at the NorCal Futurity. So I'm really excited for that one. So that's kind of her story. She's really inspired everything. After all this happened and she came down to her normal weight, we did our first show where we took 3 blue ribbons, reserve champion, 3 trophies, and we did a Western Pleasure, which she's not a Western Pleasure horse at all. It was just kind of to get her out there in the ring. And in the middle of the class, she decided she wanted to lay down and take a roll. So we ended up placing 5th out of 5 people. But it was still a great way to get her out there in the arena the first time. Then our second show we took, it was at a A-rated show, and we did halter again, and we did 2 blue ribbons, a second place, and that was a lot of fun. That was an overnight show as well. We did 2 overnight shows, and now the next one we're getting ready to go to is actually 10 days, I believe. That's at the NorCal Futurity. We're going to be doing hunters and dressage, all sorts of really fun stuff. It's just my dream to do this. And so I'm showing with this huge Arabian show barn now. And I'm training with their horses. I go over and I work over there. And I manage the farm. I'm going to be managing the farm while they're in Scottsdale this year. So I started to get involved with the Arabian Horse Association because of China. And I was invited down to Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2011 to cover a story for the Arabian Horse Association in World Magazine for Youth Nationals, and that was a really big thing. I ended up having to decline it, but I was very privileged to be able to have that presented to me, that opportunity presented to me. So I'm very thankful for that. And so we made it into our local newspaper, and we did some articles like that. So that really sparked my journalism career for me. And so we started writing a book, and I found out that I'm excellent at writing, and I really enjoy it. So we started writing this book, and it's really incredible. It's called A Horse with a Purpose, and it's just about the story of me and China just going through everything together. She's changed my life. This horse has changed everything I do in my life. I think of her. If I don't feel well, I think of what she went through when she was at Davis. If I want to drag my heels about my studies and my schoolwork, I just look at her and I know I need to go and I need to do what I need to do. And so now she also inspired me to become a veterinarian, large animal veterinarian, specializing in equine reproduction within the thoroughbred racing industry. Well, why? A lot of people ask. With China, I started to look at different different breeding methods and alternatives and things I could do to help her feel better with her pemphigus. And now I've learned so much about embryo transfer and AI and all this stuff. I'm doing AI with cattle now, and it's just been a wonderful opportunity for me. So she aside from the journalism, she's helped me decide that I'm born to become a large animal vet and help horses just like her. And I think that would just be so much fun. So she started this entire thing, and she's a horse that could have easily gone to slaughter. I mean, she's a $20,000 horse that was given to me for free because her breeding career was over. But really, it's just a new phase of her life. She's doing dressage and hunters and all sorts of incredible things. So people will just get rid of perfectly good horses, and it's really a shame. So I'm hoping to end that. My other horse is a 8-month-old quarter horse colt. He's very cute. He's a Grua, and his name is Jack. He's going to be registered, so I'm very excited for him. We're going to be gelding him soon, poor boy. I picked him up at an auction yard, and his owners hadn't fed him at all. They had weaned him far too early, about 3.5 to 4 months, because they didn't want to have to pay to have the mare in the stall anymore. They just wanted to be able to put her outside, so they wouldn't have to pay for her feed, which is really, really unfortunate. So he's a little bit stunted, but he's back up to weight now, and he's lunging, and he gets right into the trailers. He's really good. He doesn't have any vices. I bought him for $200, and I ended up, right now, I have had, in the last 2 weeks, 11 people now want to buy him for over $1,500. And so I've got my eye on something really good, but I don't want to let him go. I don't think I'm going to sell him. He's just too sweet, and he's been through so much, so I think he's going to stick with me and be my little riding horse when he gets a little bit older. But I saved him too, and I couldn't imagine my life without Jack. Jack or China, and if they had been in the slaughterhouse, I don't know what my life would be like right now. I try to imagine it. Every time I sit down at the computer to work on my petition, I wonder, what would my life be like without my horses? And that really motivates me. That encourages me to go forward and do this. I've seen horses do incredible things. I mean, China's done incredible things for me. And, I mean, I used to work at a therapeutic riding facility, with disabled children, and there were some adults there as well. And there was a little girl who was unable to walk. She couldn't even stand up on her own. And she would actually come out and ride this mare for an hour 2 times a week, and was able to walk, actually not to stand, but walk for 15 minutes after each time. And, I mean, horses just can do incredible things. They're not just animals. They're friends. They're goal achievers that help you achieve your goals and make your dreams come true. And I'm not saying that, oh, I'm a little girl, I want ponies. No. I'm saying this because it's the truth. Horses have a purpose. China gave me a purpose. That horse that helped the little girl walk, she had a purpose. Every single horse has a purpose, and there's no reason why they need to be destroyed. So, with this overpopulation of the horses right now, you're probably wondering, well, what are we going to do? Yeah, it's a big issue, but, every time you try and fix one issue, you're going to probably make another issue. So, what I'm working on right now is kind of like a breeder's certificate. So, it's kind of like going to the DMV. If you go to the DMV to get your driver's license, you would go to this place and you would take basically a breeding test exam type of deal. And it would get you certified based on the number of successful horses you put out a year, and the size of your facility, and the number of successful horses you put out a year. And it would cap the number of horses you could breed based on that. And to even be able to start breeding these horses, you're going to have to pass this exam and pay a fee as well. The exam would have things such as breeding techniques, simple genetic disorders. It would have choosing stallions, matching mares with stallions. This would make it would make so many more wanted horses because the people would know what they're doing. There's so many uneducated breeders out there right now who have no clue what they're doing. Backyard breeders and uneducated people who say they're trainers and they're going to do all these great things with the horses, but then they ended up just standing out there or being shot. All these awful things. And the horses, they don't deserve that. That's not what they're made for. I recently I had a friend send me an article, that was, these people had a horse rescue basically. And they had just gotten an inquiry from a man who had a PMU, and that's called pregnant mare's, it stands for pregnant mare's urine. They use that for medication for people. And this man had bred 600 mares to stallions, and they're all mixed breeds. The mares are crossed with mostly draft horses. And so now there's over 300 foals, and all those mares are pregnant with foals for next year currently. And those horses have until January 21st for all those horses to be adopted out. Otherwise, that man is going to take all of those horses to slaughter. The foals, the mares, the unborn foals, the stallions, the geldings, there's all sorts of horses out there. This one farm has just so many horses. He's breeding them simply for their urine, for medications. So, I mean, there's got to be a better way to do this. This is not something I'm proud to say. I live in this country where people do this to the horses. It's just not fair to them. They've got personalities, and you can go out and you can stand and watch them for hours on end. You can go and watch Jack, a little colt. He'll gallop up the fence line, and he'll play with our pigs out in the pasture, and he'll run with the goats. I mean, they all interact with each other and really care about each other. They've got so much personality, and they're so full of life. I don't know how you can do something like that to these animals. So hopefully what I'm hoping to do is get this certificate type of thing planned out and up and running in the next year and a half. That's going to be a huge thing for me, and that's going to make everything go a lot smoother. We'll see. So I'm hoping that I can get some help with this. I've got people actually lined up in Canada. There's a whole bunch of people in Canada who are contacting me and want to get this program that I'm starting over in their country as well. So who knows? This could be a system that could go worldwide, and I mean, who knows how long. That's really exciting for me. It's kind of similar to the European testing system. And so, let me take this, my phone's ringing. It's similar to the European testing system that they use in Europe for the warm blood and Oldenburg horses. So that's going to really dramatically cut down on the unwanted horses and uneducated breeders, because it will really be impossible for people who don't know what they're doing to breed horses. And that will cut down so much on those unwanted horses. So, thank you so much.